Welcome in, everyone, on this very fine Wednesday evening. It is I, Caspian, your host. Tonight, we are having an interview with the one, the only, and the multiple Zlader, Faust McCree, Monocle Joe himself. We've got some special tracks lined up for you. We've got an interview lined up for you. Ghostworkrecords.ca is the place to go to check out links direct to the artists whose music you enjoy on our label. If you go and find us on Facebook, we have a merch shop. You just click the Shop Now button. We've got some fresh merch designs by Rain Resner. You can check us out on YouTube. We have videos there for you all to check out as well. Visuals by Rain Resner himself as well. And I think we're all on TikTok and Twitch to a certain extent and things like that. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get this train rolling this evening. Zlader, how are you this evening?
Chew woo. I'm doing pretty good, man. How about you? How's your evening going?
Excellent. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight and being here for the interview. It's a pleasure to have you in the virtual studio this evening in our
Thanks for
rogue
having me.
transmissions here, and we've got you big screened up here with us. I'm gonna start here by asking you when did you get your start here in the music industry?
When did I get my start in the music industry? All right, so I think this goes back as far as maybe 14, maybe 16 years old. I had a lot of friends around me who were musicians. A lot of them were just mostly into like punk rock and stuff, right? Uh, so I was the other guy who was just like into very aggressive heavy metal, like very extreme sorts. Like my favorite bands at the time were like Megadeth, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse. So, you know, they always kind of used to cheese on me all the time because I was a metalhead and I wasn't like a punk rocker or something. So I was like, well, I'm going to show you the intricacies, if I can speak English or not right now, of heavy metal. We're gonna end up freaking just proving just how much more greater. And you're a teenager at this point, so you're just like, you're not. You're just basically in a pissing contest with each other.
Right, right. It's
So
the endless cycle.
you're right. So like, I actually ended up bringing one of my friends too, who was just like, you know what? I actually do accept the ways of metal. I like the shreddy bits. I like guitar solos. I like, multiple parts to my music. And that was one of the things that really drove me to the style. So they were only really going to get kind of a perspective. I felt as if like I went ahead and picked up a guitar myself. So I didn't have a guitar. It was a friend, Scott Bartenhagen, who let me borrow his PV. Had a Floyd Rose on it and everything, and I was practicing on that for like a little while. That was just so generous of him for letting me, play on his expensive little PV there. Which one of my other friends ended up grabbing and dropping, like on a linoleum. It was kind of like the transition, like to the carpet to the linoleum. God, can we speak? And basically put a crack in the damn thing.
Oh no.
So great to end up like returning that to your friend is like, sorry, it was my friend that did it. you know. So that's really where it kind of started. It was kind of a pissing contest thing, and where it was just like, you know what? As I went along with working on my craft and my skills into it, and wanting to just uh, show how great metal it was, it just really just kind of got into being more about song structure and uh, having medium to express myself, basically.
Yeah, it's
Um,
essential.
yeah. So, I mean, before I was always doing like artwork and stuff, but I just don't think that it really got to me. I couldn't really just get myself out there through visuals. I felt like sound was just, I don't know about what it was about it. It seemed like it was just my way.
Music is the solution.
So, I mean, I started my first band around that time period. I was like, oh, I think by my sophomore year, we were supposed to actually play in like, um, uh, over in like the school's court. And then because like enough of us ended up doing so terribly, like with our grades and stuff, we're like, nope, we can't have you do it. And it was probably better off anyway because we weren't all that freaking great to start off. Like my other guitarist at the time, like he just wasn't really bothering to like to learn through like scales. Like sure you can go through like, you know, guitar tablature and stuff, but as for like writing, it just wasn't there. And he was able to follow through, but he wanted to so like much get involved with like the writing process. Like, dude, but you're just putting out the dirt. I wasn't so much better anyway myself. I knew some scales, knew my chord, some of the chords and stuff, and played some of the solos off of Metallica songs. And so it kind of went from that band to it falling apart to getting into a band that had more going for itself because it was already pre-established called Split Personnel. That happened when I was getting out of high school. Um, and there was at least like a support system there, like there was already merch in line. Uh, but it was like we had to still kind of it was basically a full like flush out replacement of members. The vocalist basically came to another friend of mine. His name was David Ovieta. Uh, dude, can that kid freaking shred? Like I wish I can get him in like my project and stuff, but like currently. But like he just doesn't want to bother to get into tech and stuff.
Oh,
So that's
that's
the
too
thing that
bad. A
makes the
missed opportunity almost.
it's so fucking bad, dude. Like I wish that he would and I've had conversations with him so often where it's like, dude, just take the time to learn a little bit of this. Even if I have to like get on a one-on-one and share screen with you to show you the shit cuz I want to get you involved with my fucking projects and shit. But, you know, he's kind of made himself in a little bit of places. He's more so the family guy, but he's hung out with like the likes of like George Lynch and Dawkins. He had a guitar made for himself through that guy because he was doing like his own making his own guitar stuff. But he had his own little I guess moments of spotlight. I guess he's satisfied with it. Or else he
that's
would have probably
that's
or else he would have
excellent.
probably bothered to pursue with those things. But yeah, he ended up hitting me up because like he met this guy JR, who was a vocalist of Split Personnel, and then he was like, "Hey, we need another guitarist. You're the next coolest guy that I fucking know that can play, and doesn't just freaking want to do new metal. Uh, so let's get into this thing and see if we can't actually change something and make something bigger here." And at the time, that's mostly what all people were really kind of into. We were fucking a band who was like throwing guitar solos and dueling leads and stuff, and it's just like nobody was really wanting that. So that fucking band ended up fucking sinking. But I think that's actually where I think the decision to really get myself more invested with the music industry really started, was just with that band. I think it was the first time I ever fucking in it. I ended up getting drunk too.
That's amazing. So you would say that that's really who influenced you to get into the industry itself.
Because I was in more of the process of things. Like I played like an actual first real venue over in Modesto. It was known as the Fat Cat. I'm not currently sure if it's still there in California, but with the way things are kind of going, a lot of businesses going down. But yeah, that was like one of the first venues we played. We played a number of community centers and plenty of backyard shows. Backyard shows were always great. But yeah, that's where it started.
That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about your creative process?
Yeah, hold on, let me go ahead and get this thing up real quick. When it comes to the creative process, uh, a lot of the times stuff will kind of come to me if I'm sitting around watching like a TV show or a movie. Maybe it's some sort of information that I'm delving into. Like maybe it's that I'm learning about quantum physics. Maybe I'm learning about the occult. Whatever it be. Maybe it's some heartbreaking story. And it seems to just kind of come automatic to me if I'm using a guitar as a medium. I just kind of end up just playing things out while I'm watching, and then something might actually just strike me. It's like, oh, wait a minute, that kind of catches. And it always kind of would start off with a riff when it comes to doing stuff that's guitar based. When it comes to doing stuff like with Zlader and Faust McCree, um, that has more of a production and electronic music standpoint, uh, I guess it's kind of the same thing. If something isn't striking a certain kind of mood or something, I'll look for the sounds first. Like I'll go through like synthesizers and see like is that matching how I feel right now? Like the sound design kind of starts first, but it always starts with like a set of chords. Uh, and then as soon as I end up getting my chords in, then it's like, all right, this is seeming like hella dark right now. I need to find some sort of like gritty bass sound or something. And I'll go through like a number of analog synthesizer plugins, or either I'll go through ones that are more wavetable and more digitized and a little bit more cleaned up, and find something. Sometimes I'll layer them together, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's it." Um, and it really kind of just depends what the genre that I'm going for. I like to kind of leave things, and keep it simple, stupid as much as I can. Acronym KISS. um, and come out in certain places, like to show that it's just like I have a higher quality of musicianship. I like to keep things within uh, at least the lines of funk, doing like anything like that, just more modest as I can. Uh,
So
but
sound design, like you say, it's central to, especially having multiple artist styles that you're trying to create. Like each of them requires a specific kind of discipline for each particular sound set. Now, you've just released an EP at the end of March. Uh, what it's the gritty, grainy, this funk style. What can you tell me about this? I've got a track here lined up, "Standing Tall," from your new album. Is there anything you'd like to tell our listeners about this track?
yeah. So let's see. I think that was like what the third one down from the EP.
Yep.
So this EP was it was a concept. So that is also another big part of like the writing process. At least is how it was currently, or
It's
currently or
sleep
before.
paralysis. Like what a
So
sleep paralysis. Like are you dead in your sleep? Are you being visited by monsters?
you're
And
basically being visited by things that kind of reflect on stuff you probably shouldn't have been doing before employing things like self mastery. So the concept of this album is to kind of reflect on some issues that I was kind of seeing when I got a little bit more involved with like social media, and just seeing how like the quote unquote new age um, revolution is kind of like rising. There's a lot of people who are getting into like occult, uh, into a lot of new age stuff, and I think it's great. On for the most part, I'm glad to see that there are people who are exploring spirituality a little bit more.
yeah,
I know that on the other hand, taking certain turns with that can also be like an indication of society being towards its decline by taking like very old ideals. But I think that a lot of old ideals had a lot of higher knowledge like attached to it. It's just that it was always kind of being misconstrued,
yeah,
and it
certainly
was like that way on
some
purpose.
core truths, or you know the fundamentals certainly are not
And it's
always in the open. Yeah, and I mean it's really fitting for Ghost Work Records to be having and hosting this type of art that is maybe a little bit more intellectual than just the music itself. Uh,
correct.
Yeah. So I guess with that, I'll play Standing Tall here uh, from Zlader. Uh, Sleep paralysis. Dang. Let's get this Standing Tall.
First difficulty arises from the body. It just keeps on asserting its presence by causing its victim to itch.
The lines in the sand, shots heard from the northernmost of man. From a shirt, not a suit. Let me glue you on, who will make you. All our beers making cheers at expense of all my tears. What chance could you have done this to me? You vowed you could compare that I'm weak just by saying close, standing tall, thinking better than it all. That's why I get you. You don't know shit about it. You walked close, standing tall, thinking better than it all. That's why I get you. You don't know shit about it. You walked. This won't end like a day on fire. You said I had no real desire. A vain beauty queen with a cult of no personalities. If you made me raise you wonder ever after you get changed away. Now seek help. I'm a little closer to a ritual for this was disaster. Standing tall, thinking better than it all. That's why I get you. You don't know shit about it. You lost hope, standing tall, thinking better than it all. That's why I get you. You don't know shit about it. You lost.
And there we go. Standing Tall. Zlader. Sleep paralysis. Dang, there are a lot of really cool sounds in that track. How did this style of how did this music kind of mold you into the styles that interest you today?
Man, that's just probably the most interesting question. How did this music mold me into the style that interests me now? Um, Man, I'm not exactly sure, like, what the next thing it is that I'm gonna be doing. Oh no, that's right. The next thing what I'm gonna be doing. Uh, well, since sleep paralysis was ended up going towards more of a, I guess, a darker concept. Pretty much almost everything I do kind of lingers in the dark side of things. Um, uh, my next objective was to kind of take a part 2 into doing something that was more heavy metal, bringing some of those kind of creepy-esque ambiances that you heard kind of swell into that song you just heard, but implementing that into metal. So there's like this creepy, menacing wall of sound that's assisted to uh, um, into that. I wanted to actually make a part 2 of sleep paralysis, as you've seen at the volume 1.
Yes.
So that way I can actually finish like the second half of that album, which I did have full intentions of sleep paralysis being actually a full funk thing, but or a full funk album. But it really kind of came to me that it's like, hey, it's better off with the way that this is progressing right now, that I kind of make my next step into doing something on the extreme metal side. So I think we can
this is
say
cool.
that's molded me back to my roots.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of roots, I mean, I think we can all kind of relate. In music, influence comes from going to shows. And man, some of the best and most life-changing experiences that we can have happen at a show. And I mean, what would you say would be like the craziest thing that has happened to you at a show? Either like you going to a show or like you performing a show and something crazy happens while you're up on stage.
I mean, besides like, man, trying to remember some of the shows that I've been to and like just the freaking corners of debauchery that was going on, because like, you know, a lot of the shows that I was going to in the beginning were backyard shows. You had like plenty of people besides yourself who weren't exactly of age to attend venues. So we're talking about neighborhoods that were very, I mean, like they were a little bit shady on the side. Parents aren't really there to do much supervision. That's just the type of place it was. So I mean, you're just here having a fucking goddamn mosh pit going on, you know, to one of these other bigger local bands. And there's like freaking people just freaking having sex over in the fucking goddamn corner. And then the other guy's like puking on another. I mean, those when you're like younger, that was kind of like a big thing. That was that's kind of like, wow,
That is some culture
this
defining
this
stuff
is
right there,
this
folks.
is it really it is. It's so culture defining. Um, I don't think anything like really too out there or too wild's ever happened. It's at least for when I'm performing, I think like the most like badass thing was that I was in at the time I was in like a symphonic, it was a satirical symphonic black metal band, which we were playing black metal songs that were just basically making fun of the genre. And it was
Oh
another
no.
backyard show. They're always the greatest, man. Like I'd rather fucking take a backyard show almost over any like large stage or any venue.
It seems really like personal, up close, and just the best way to enjoy some live raucous music.
Like especially when like the backyard's so large and like you've already just watched off to the corner. It's like fucking in California, this is like considered like really fucking cold. It's like to be at like fucking about 35 degrees, and it was 35 degrees at the time. Like that was already too cold for us then. Here in Missouri, I've become more accustomed to much colder temperatures. I'm like, yeah, California doesn't know what the fuck cold is.
Yeah,
So like,
geography makes a big difference too. In I find the size and the energy of venues and shows, like it just, I don't know. There's something about the eastern side of North America that just parties harder. I don't know.
that's, I mean, I have yet to experience it since I've been out here. It's about 3
You
years,
know,
but
maybe it's the
I know I'm
beer.
gonna find it. It's the beer.
It's the
I
beer.
think, I think that's once I come to discovering more about that, that's what it's gonna be. I mean, from what I hear about my boss, I think that's I think I think that's right. But no, I think the craziest thing was is just watching like this very small fucking bonfire evolve into this enormous, like it was almost a freaking piece of architecture that like scaled higher than mountains to me. And I'm playing by this damn thing. Like this, I finally ended up getting like a wireless rig, and I'm just playing around in freaking circles around this fucking fire, like playing fucking guitar solos with this damn bonfire that stretches way higher than me. I'm watching, like, I'm fucking watching, like, freaking this dude going in and taking fucking junk from his fucking house. It was for my friend's Heather's like freaking birthday party, but she had a shit ton of people over. But like, I see someone who's just like tractoring out like fucking junk, like freaking furniture that like we're talking about stuff that's like upholstery and everything, and just dumping it on this fucking fire. Everyone's fucking probably inhaling very toxic ass fucking fumes, but not giving a shit. They're all fucked up. They're fucking hearing extreme fucking music and they're having a great fucking time. But like, I think that was one of the coolest fucking things for me, is just having this fucking scaled high fucking goddamn fire behind me while I'm fucking ripping guitar solos and shit. Felt like ritualistic as hell.
That's crazy. And I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit here. Like, being an artist, a musician, a performing artist, and a performing musician who travels, tours, and, you know, enjoys producing and making and distributing music, there's obstacles and there's hurdles and there's things that are really difficult to overcome. What kind of obstacles and hurdles have you faced, you know, over your career now? And do you have any advice that you could give to people to how you've overcome them, that could be useful for the audience?
Yeah, if you're kind of in my current situation, which I mean, right now haven't been to like the live setting in some time. I do plan to eventually return to the live setting and performing at venues and places again. But just being in the seat of a producer right now and artist, uh, really, if you're in a situation where you need to hold some sort of financial stability, don't set your goalposts too wide. I think that was one of my biggest problems through all this. Like, like all the plans I had for Sleep Paralysis being a full length album, you know, working a full time job and trying to have the energy and the time like open to get this, you know, fully done. You know, with like, you know, 10 to 11 tracks, and then you're doing the mixing and mastering yourself.
Right.
um
It's
I
an
would
endeavor.
definitely, right. So I would say just like really narrow down the goalposts if you're like in this kind of situation. Fall back to like being okay with just like, you know, putting out the singles. It's almost better off that you do it anyway. You're able to keep your with the attention spans and the way that people kind of like thirst for content these days, and that in the very demanding frequency that it is.
The
Like you
30-second
would
attention span. Thanks,
right.
TikTok.
Right. Like you kind of would rather just, you know, put out the singles and stuff, and that almost kind of leaves more doors open for you anyway. If you're feeling like you want to do a funk track right here, then go ahead and do this funk track. If you're for someone who's like multifaceted with, you know, the genres, if you want to do a metal track, you can do it now at this time. You're you don't really feel like you're just kind of setting yourself in a um you're not entrapping yourself basically and just totally burning yourself out. And after you've spent out so much time on this project and haven't been able to actually execute it in the amount of time that you felt it was needed, within that amount of time you could have already lost like where your mind frame was for the whole thing too.
Right. The
Like
entire
you have a
essence can slip you away while you're hyper focusing on a non-relevant component that is important, but like not necessarily in the moment. And
right, like a
like
concept
focus
album.
is a real challenge, right? Like staying focused, as well as, like you're saying, keep your objectives narrowed to something realistic, but also be the manager, be the artist, be the composer, the writer, you're your own advertising campaign and stuff. Like, it's just endless amounts of work that are easy distractions that can carry you away from your project in the end.
And also, folks, if you can, don't put on too many hats.
Yeah.
If you have the financial backing and stuff, like, definitely go out there, and it almost can benefit you better, especially when it comes to mixing and mastering. I know there's plenty of artists on our platform and out there who might end up, hearing what I'm saying is like, yeah, duh, of course. It's probably be better to just go ahead and send your work out to somebody else who hasn't ever heard it at all to do your mixing and mastering. And I would actually, even though I'm still probably going to turn around and do it myself, I advise for others to actually do that instead.
Yeah, there's great people who are really good at it and have good equipment, and yeah, it's kind of part of the process. It depends on, of course, time, and it's inevitable, money.
Right.
The
Which,
more
if you're doing
money
things,
that you can free up for a project, it's not necessarily that it'll go faster, but it'll definitely go smoother.
especially if you're kind of holding yourself to maybe just releasing singles every time, like, I think you can kind of keep up with the momentum financially for that until you've actually grown yourself large enough where you can be more sustaining for what it is that you do and your own life.
And once again, for our listeners, tonight we're interviewing Zlader, Faust McCree, Monocle Joe on Ghostwork Records. Ghostworkrecords.ca is the place to go to get links directly to the artists whose music you enjoy. We ask that you please support us on Bandcamp over anything else. Bandcamp is a direct way to show your support to artists with your wallet, and do we ever appreciate that, as you can see. Zlader, I think you're on TikTok. Speaking of TikTok and short attention spans, what's your handle on TikTok for the fans?
I'm pretty sure that's still Zlader. Oh no, it's actually changed. So that's going to be Zlader underscore Faust. I think it's either Faust or Faust McCree. After that, it's going to be underscore Monocle Joe.
There you go. If you go to our Facebook page and scroll a little bit, you'll find the posting for Faust's or for Zlader's Sleep Paralysis album, and all his social links are on that page. Before the show is out, I'll drop a link in the chat box here for people who are interested. In the meantime here, I've got The Shrink lined up. And, speaking of some of those challenges of keeping your mind straight when you're orchestrating a huge album project, what's the story with The Shrink? This is the 5th track on the album.
Alrighty, so just to put some context on to Standing Tall real quick, basically this whole story is really about a girl who's kind of always been at the state of vanity. She's basically inflated by all the stuff that her peers on social media just put into her head. Complete narcissist. It's like a very fucking common thing, unfortunately, these days that we see on social media. But we have people who just can't really take any kind of criticism to like the latest bit. So it's really that she met somebody who called her out on her shit, someone at her work, a male, and she just couldn't take that. So she's now feeling wrathful, and she's falling to her wrath. And basically what The Shrink is basically her falling to her wrath. She basically turned to methods of trying to get back at this person that involve the arts, the crafts, but didn't employ any self-agency, and has actually caused a lot of grief to happen for herself, and ended up reflecting back on herself rather than to the individual, because she didn't really follow through with certain rituals to a T. So that's what that one's about.
I see. And then The Shrink.
Oh, so that's what I was saying. The Shrink was about that whole part where
Yeah.
she basically has fallen.
Yes.
Uh, and so her psyche's just basically falling apart. Basically, the demons and stuff that she ended up conjuring are just kind of like reeling into her head and like telling her like where you're going, like right now, like what you're going to expect because of the pathway that you've taken. But she just keeps like kind of turning it off, like she just wants to keep ignoring it. But it's already causing her and leading her to go towards more actual physical violent approaches to dealing with her adversary.
Whoa, that's really deep and dark. I just put a link in the chat comments on. Whoops, it's on this side for you guys here. Hyper follow. It's got previews of the tracks, links to Zlader's socials, and please again support on Bandcamp. We extremely appreciate that. That is the best way to show an artist that you appreciate their work is to support them on Bandcamp. So without too much here, I'll let the Shrink speak for himself here, and let's check this out. And that was The Shrink from Zlader's just released album, Sleep Paralysis Volume 1. Once again, we're joined here in the studio virtually. It is 2024's Rogue Transmissions on Caspian's channel. That's me. I'm your host on this very fine Wednesday evening. It is raining and balmy out here on the East Coast. And resuming here with Zlader on our interview this evening, I'm very curious to know. I know you and I have done it a couple of times. You must have a bucket list here for collaborations that you would like to do. Can you tell us about that?
Oh man, like so from like from being at the seat of Zlader, for that project, I mean, like I would like to freaking well, I mean, some of those freaking funk masters will probably be gone by the time I'd ever be able to. But I mean, freaking George Clinton and freaking Bootsy Collins for one. But as for someone who's more of a younger cat and has done kind of like the West Coast sound, um, the G Funk stuff, like dude would know nothing about me, but like XL Militant, I would really like to do stuff with. When it comes to like the Faust McCree side, where it would be like vaporwave and synthwave projects. Like I already got freaking Ryan Resner on the list. I do want to end up working with that guy. I think we can cook something pretty cray together.
I think so too,
Uh,
honestly. That's gonna be some interesting stuff. He's got a really unique taste in heavy synth that I think with some good guitar chops combined, those rock roots combined with those synth aesthetics, could really produce something really awesome here at Ghostwork. We're always cooking stuff here at Ghostwork, but I really like the idea that there's no limit here. Partnerships and things happen in the music sphere sometimes really quickly and much easier than we think, and sometimes it's just a matter of asking, and suddenly you're an EP deep into a project that you didn't even think was gonna happen. So I really think that that's amazing personally. What would you say that your largest long-term music goal would be?
there's kind of two of them really. My the long term that I'm aiming for right now, just because in the music industry, especially with as oversaturated as it is as far as artists, and getting yourself out there to be listened to, it's really I kind of want to end up providing more service. I would like to actually expand my studio space, my knowledge to mixing and mastering, honing a lot more onto the instruments that I'm good with, guitar, bass. Shit, if you need a freaking didgeridoo, I'll play that. And yeah,
That'd be interesting.
to basically write beats for others on it exclusively though, because I just really hate the idea of like you've written like this large catalog of beats and stuff, and someone goes to buy it and it was like one you kind of were just hitting it that day, like that one just had so much sauce going for it, and then like you have this person who's just strung out on like freaking fentanyl or whatever who's just going to mess it all up and put it out there. And like I just I don't want like my work to be like totally freaking shit on,
No,
by that
no, of course not. Nobody
by that
wants that.
either. You're right. You're representing them. They're representing you. It's like you kind of need to pick and choose, like with your clients, I think, and not just leave everything out there. Yeah, making beats, mixing and mastering in the future, um, doing musician session work, doing for any of the metal guys out there who need to actually have their drums, if they don't want to resort to having a drummer, actually sound realistic. Like, hey, a drummer can actually play this. Yeah, I'll program it for you. And then, I mean, beyond that, if I can actually be sustainable on doing all of these things, be able to go out and take the things that I've written, my projects, and get members together, and go out and play, start playing the venues again. Uh, play with other people, and their things. Like, if freaking Resner ends up, wanting to do some sort of touring or something, it's just like, fuck, I can go jump on, with him right now and freaking play guitar with him on stage.
Yeah, he's only in Maine. That's not that far.
I mean, we can make it happen if once I'm, at a point where I can fully sustain myself. And I'm
the
in the
only
works
one
for
that's
that.
like in another country.
But
that's
yeah,
nothing. I mean, in today's digital age, anything is possible.
no, it's everything is possible. I mean, even if we weren't gonna take it to the live, I mean, I've seen plenty of artists, like, it was especially during COVID and stuff, when no one was able to go out. They were actually making virtual stages and kind of just green screening each other together, and it kind of worked pretty cool. We can do shit like that even.
Yep. Yeah, there's I mean, the last few years have really taught us, not everyone. I mean, a lot of people, unfortunately, were forced into adapting to virtual technology for work.
Yeah.
But some of us were fortunate enough to be able to take advantage of these tools to exactly like you said. Man, your living room is just as good a stage as anywhere else. All you need is a good enough green screen, some good mics, OBS, and you're streaming. And anybody can watch you,
And people bought, man, like with Devin's, like, a whole thing. Devin Townsend, he did that whole virtual stage thing, and people bought it, man. They bought the fucking tickets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the content at the end of the day. If you're putting out something that people want to hear, and obviously if they're willing to pay for it, then they really want to hear it. And that's a great goal to have, to get to that point where people absolutely want to hear what you have to play, and they're willing to guarantee a spot with their money. I mean, it doesn't have to be like millions of dollars. I'm sure that's not what we're saying. It's just the idea of the validation that brings.
Right.
That's awesome. I think I only got 2 more questions here on my hit list tonight. So before we close here, I got one more song racked up. It's not from Sleep Paralysis. This is Voljuice Zildrohar. And this track was a Faust McCree track. And it's re-released. It has the Stay Puffed Man on it. And I just dropped a link over there on the side. And damn it. What is it doing to me? I see.
Damn technology.
Yes. I can't, apparently I can't type in that box without signing in. So I'll type in this box because I'm already signed in. There you go. So now, over there on the side, there's a hyperfollow page that you can click on that's got the new Voljuice Zildrohar that is done by Zlader now, and not Faust McCree. What's going on here?
All right, so I know that I kind of have everybody hyped up on doing a metal project right now, right? I'm basically getting myself, prepped up for that, getting my guitars ready, keeping like a regular guitar routine to get my chops, all up to the par of where I want to produce. So what's coming before that is what I felt like was unfinished work. Because like about the time that I released Faust McCree's Bizarre Requiem, I was at a position where it's like, man, am I going to be eating the street? I kind of don't want to not have like, this work out there if I got to go eat the street. But fortunately, I didn't have to eat the fucking street. And I actually ended up getting kind of rescued. And
that's really bad.
Proceed to still do this.
in Canuckistan, we just eat the grass. Like eating in the street is like a lower. That's even more poor,
Dude, it's
just saying, people. Please buy our music. We are eating pavement because there's no food.
Asphalt. Love eating
But the
asphalt.
Stay Puffed Man.
Uh, right. So I'm actually going through Bizarre Requiem in its entirety. I'm reproducing it, cleaning up all of my drum samples, rewriting them, just really adding the thickness that it needed, giving it a remix, a remaster, and fully vocalizing the son of a bitch, except for maybe 2 tracks.
That is
Uh,
something like, I don't know. People aren't, they don't know what's coming, you know? Speaking of the vocalization, right? Like, I know the first time that I heard this, I was like, no way. How? Like, how? How do you come up with this idea years after the fact that, yeah, this needs a singer and this needs lyrics to be sung? So here we go. I'm just going to do it.
So, I mean, it wasn't really necessarily like, I'm just gonna do it. When I wrote those songs, a lot of the time when I'm writing music as it is, like I'm used to being in like a rock band or metal band format. So structuring the songs, like what's familiar to you is to have, the intros, the pre-verses, the verses, the pre-choruses, the choruses, the bridges, breakdowns, so on and so on. Interludes even. But so those songs are already kind of like written for the most part to uh inquire vocals. I was just kind of going through and filling it in with instrumentation in the places of where uh vocals needed to fit.
Right.
So basically that's what I'm doing now is like that I'm pulling some of the stuff away, putting the vocals in, adding stuff in spaces where I thought that, it needed more beefing and more excitement. And I'm just finishing my work, man.
And did you want to say anything about your vocalist, or
Oh, right.
did you want to keep it
I
a
no,
closely
I
guarded
won't
secret?
actually, if it means that it becomes a thing in the future where I could be someone who advertises it for this company because I don't feel like it's getting around so much. I know that there's several other ways that people have gone about doing this. I think there's things that I don't know, Google and some other apps out there have been able to do, but I don't think it's just as fine tuned as this is. But it's by a company called Dream Tonics.
So it's not a girl singer.
No,
That's
it's
what I'm
not.
getting at here.
It was the same
We
thing
got
for
a
sleep paralysis
Vocaloid?
too.
A Vocaloid? Is that a thing?
I mean, it's similar to Vocaloid, but like those Vocaloid synthesizers that were developed out of Japan before, I think are just they're very obsolete. I mean, it works great for like stuff like EDM music and stuff. Uh, but for fitting it for stuff like this, I I don't think so. Um, there's a lot more realism to this, but it's called Synthesizer V. It's by Dream Tonics. It is expensive in the long shoot. I think it was like either $120 to $160
Oof.
just for the program. And then if you want to get voice banks, which you're gonna want to get voice banks, I think it was like $72 per like voice.
Oof. So it's an
But
investment. And
it
I
is an
personally,
investment.
the first time I heard you using this Vocaloid or this program, I was pretty stunned. It's pretty convincing, like, to be honest. And now, as you guys will see once we listen to a Vulture Silverhar with vocals, I think you'll agree with me. It's not what you think. It's really not what you think. It's very close to a human, and with proper manipulation, like you were saying, I hadn't seen or heard this anywhere else. This was such a new idea and concept to me, and uh, it opens up a cool opportunity where you can extremely either sketch up a project to show a real person how you want something sung and articulated in a project, or in a bind here, if you can't afford a real person to sing for you on a track, well, hey, this can do pretty much the same thing.
Pretty much.
Minus
Yeah,
the diva headaches, as happens sometimes, unfortunately, in this industry.
Yeah.
So what do you
I've dealt
think?
with that.
Should we play this Voljus?
Yeah, go ahead and shoot it.
All right, let's play this Voljus Zildrohar. And there you go. That was Voljus Zildrohar. And don't forget, don't cross the streams. Don't ever cross the streams.
Never when I'm in a bathroom, man, do I cross the streams.
Well, I have one final question on my interview sheet. And
All right.
my really good friend, Chance the Closer, is the one who gave me the idea for most of the questions for this interview when he interviewed me for his podcast, Pops and Drops. And Chance and I have been friends for 5 years almost now, and we had chased each other around for that whole time until we could finally sit down and have an interview together. So props to him. I stole your questions, bro. Thank you very much. And I've got this final one, and I thought it was super clever. And it's basically, what are 3 things in your life that you are grateful for that you can share?
All right. We're going to start with food. I'm absolutely fucking grateful for what is also probably my number one freaking flappy titty fucking goddamn vice. It has done some freaking terrible things to my body, but oh my God, do I fucking love it. Like when fucking things aren't going fucking right in fucking the world, like that shit always seems to make it fucking way better. Like I've been through some other things and other vices, but man, food's always the one. As for the second, I'm gonna say amongst like my little small, little tight group of people that I talk to, just being able to have anybody who's like-minded at all. Because as I'm getting older, it seems like it's just a lot more harder to kind of
Yeah, the
define
social vacuum is real as we get older.
It is, and you start becoming wiser, and if your curiosity really keeps you driven, like you're just become a lot less interested in a lot of the same trivial freaking bullshit that you see that all of your older peers are kind of into. So to be able to still have people to have one-on-ones with, just having friends, so my friends, this community here, I'm absolutely thankful fucking for. And let's see, the third thing, being able to find a medium like this, music. This is the thing, like it's saved the best for last, really, right here. Sorry, if I have to put
No.
put you guys
This
below
is
it.
why I did
Oh,
it
really?
this way.
But yeah, no, that's really that's the thing that's kept my fucking head straight. It's been something that's I could always use to reflect in on myself. You put something out there, we're at this certain frame of mind, you're able to listen back to it and kind of detect and see, it's like, dang, I was this person then. Do I still want to be like, this kind of person? What can I actually do that's better? There's self-improving grounds to this medium. You grow with it. I don't think there's just anything like it. I'm highly thankful, to my friends way back then, where it just kind of started off as being like a freaking pissing contest to causing the initiation, the just turning the engines of creativity over for me like that, and presenting the seat to me.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that with me and with our audience today. It's really wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Zlader, Faust McCree, Monocle Joe, the one-man, three-band project. Links they're on that side for you guys. Links on the side over there in the chat doobly-doo thing to the songs that we've been discussing this evening in this interview. And links to Faust socials are on those pages as well. Otherwise, you can find us on ghostworkrecords.ca. I am Caspian, your host, and you guys have been awesome. thank you so much for coming to check it out. I think this is going to be the first of several interviews in this format for this year as we interview and discover other artists at Ghostwork. And as you guys can kind of tell, we're all pretty good friends around here. And that definitely makes us different, and we like it that way. Yeah, so once again, thank you very much for joining us this evening, Zlader. I am going to
Thanks for having
leave you all with a parting track, which happens to be a collab between Faust McCree and myself. The track is Fog Hat, and it's a track that we worked on eons, and I mean eons ago. And
God,
it's a really
freaking
good one.
it's like that's so long ago. Holy shit.
Yeah. I had to pull one out from the Wayback Machine, to go with us being late. It's that whole time travel is a bitch. And I get lost sometimes on the way here. And I forget how to get here every time or something, or it's just the past is too good or the future is too good, and coming back to the 2020s, it's just like, God damn it, this hell again.
It feels nothing but like freaking like time travel. I mean, that didn't seem like it was that long ago that we did that.
It
So many years have passed
really.
already.
It doesn't really. It's just been a blink of an eye, but really, I think it's been almost 3 years at this point. Which is a long time, but this is a really cool song. Speaking of your drum programming abilities and my knack for gritty, ugly synths, tossed together a quick track here. Again, want to just thank everybody once again for coming to check us out, ghostworkrecords.ca. Come and find us, Ghostwork Records, on Facebook. Come find me, Caspian Khw. I have the links to everything. If you find me, you find us all. And that'll be it for me this evening. Thank you very, very much. And I will catch you all on the next one. Cheers.
Everybody.
Peace.